Have you ever looked around and thought, I can't do this anymore? Well, that was Tonya Middleton.
She was underemployed, raising 4 kids, feeling isolated in a new state and stuck. But then she found a business that reignited her purpose.
In this episode, Tonya is going to share how she pushed through 6 brutal months of red tape to buy her dream franchise while learning CAD, driving a forklift, and launching during spring break with 4 kids at home.
This isn't just a story about business. It's about starting over when life feels heavy and finding yourself in the process.
Welcome to episode 106 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. And our guest today is Tonya Middleton, owner of Space Place of DFW. So welcome, Tonya.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are thrilled to have you and have you share your story. It was a bit of a long journey to get where you are today. I think it was 2 years ago. We're in 2025, so it was 2023. I met Brian. He attended a workshop that I was doing at SCORE, which is a division of the SBA. And they are mentors designed to help potential business owners and existing business owners with growth or, decisions that they might need to make. They are mentors. And Brian, who was employed, attended that because you guys had been thinking about how can you diversify your income stream. He wanted to stay employed, but it was something that y'all were thinking about as a family as to how you could generate additional revenue.
Yes.
You were employed at Keller High School.
Yes.
So I'll let you tell a little bit more kind of about your thought process and where things stood for y'all at the time.
Yeah, so Brian is still employed.
Yay!
Yay. And it was something that he and I had talked about on and off through our whole marriage, basically. Like he'd always said, I want to own a business at some point. I want us to be independent at some point. And the more we talked about it, we were like, well, it makes a lot more sense for me to take it over and run whatever we decide to do because, well, we like his income. So
yeah.
And it makes it more stable for us at home. And we're not so stressed about everything, especially with all the kids.
Yeah.
2 in college, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So we decided that if we were going to make this leap, that it had to be me. So I'd been at the high school for 5 years and then decided it was time. Whether we found something or not, it was just time for a change.
Well, and you took the job at the high school, very understandably. A lot of moms do to keep the schedule that your kids needed you to have so that you could be flexible for them, get them to and from school, have summers off. So while you weren't doing it for the money.
Exactly.
But it still gave you something to do and gave you some purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it gave me a chance. We had just moved. I had always, before this had moved into a military community, which I had ready-made friends, basically everyone in the same kind of position and, in point in life. And I moved into our neighborhood. It's an older neighborhood, like nobody our age. I was like, I need to meet some people. So working at the high school was a great transition for me to meet people and still be able to be a mom after 4.
Right.
So,
and you enjoyed the people that you worked with.
I loved the people I work with. Yes, they were fabulous.
And then the kids had gotten a little older and didn't need you as much at home also. So you felt like this was a good time.
Exactly.
And we looked at several businesses and just struggled to find the right
businesses.
So wait, what was the time frame from you meeting Brian at SCORE to you two actually working together?
Oh, it wasn't very long.
Okay, so
we started working together.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
it was
then-
a few months.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was, I think we started working together, in early fall of 23.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked together for, through the holidays and into spring, and we were just not finding the right fit. And y'all had a lot going on with the kids and everything. So I think we just kind of paused for a bit. Y'all had some travel. And then I learned about this opportunity with Space Place that was an existing location and the owner was ready to sell. And I reached out and kind of said, hey, let's regroup. We haven't found the right fit. I want to kind of tell you about this other opportunity. So we sat down again, kind of, I don't even remember. Did I show you anything else besides this when we sat down and regrouped again?
I don't think so. I think you were like, hey, this came up. And I think if you're interested, I think we kind of need to move a little bit quicker. And so we were like, okay, well, let's talk. Let's look.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had clients looking at this too.
Yeah, you
So
did.
I remember she's like, well, I think my client's going to put in an LOI. So I remember that. So it's you.
It's us. Well, timing is everything. We say that all the time. And so you got through the due diligence, but then as we kind of said in our intro, it took a long time to get the loan approved.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I thought it was never going to end.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your SBA loan experience, because I think it's good for our listeners to hear that. I think you had a very special, challenging experience, but these are some of the things that can come up. So why don't you talk
Definitely.
about that?
So we used a company to help us because we were doing both the SBA and a ROBS. So
tell a little bit about the ROBS too. Just what you did with that.
Yeah. So we took 2 of our retirements that we had that we couldn't really contribute to anymore or do anything with. It was just kind of sitting there. So we took those and rolled those over to help us start the business, have that money in there to help us with everything. And then we also needed more than that. So we did the SBA process, and it was very painful. There were several times I looked at Brian and I was just like, I'm done. Like, we got to quit and just go find somewhere else to get a loan because this is ridiculous. I was like, we have good credit. We don't have anything against us. Like, we're like great lenders. Like, so I don't understand why we're going through this whole process. Like, it was just so painful. I mean, I felt like we kept giving the same things over and over again. And I was just like, I'm done.
I had a bad underwriter.
Yeah, patience paid off because it did finally come to fruition. I think part of the holdup a lot of times too was because it was a business you were buying that was currently being operated by somebody else, you were somewhat dependent on them for a lot of the information they were asking for
that
also.
That was part of it. Yes, that was part of it. And in the whole process, they were talking to me or to my lawyer and not to the sellers, which made it very difficult because at one point I'm like, I don't know. I don't have that information. Like, could you please just talk to them?
Mm-hmm.
And I finally put them in direct contact with the sellers. And I was just like, I can't help you.
Yeah.
So
stuck in the middle.
Yeah. And that's good that you're able to do that. Yeah. And I also remember having a conversation, which I've also passed along to that company, that you felt like there was a lot of back and forth with email. And had you been able to maybe have some phone calls, that could have potentially expedited the service as well.
Yes. I feel like that in life in general. Like, there's so many times I wish I could just pick up the phone and talk to a person.
Yeah.
It would make it go faster and smoother without the back and forth and things being misunderstood in an email. So...
But eventually, it all got done. You closed and you started, what was it, March 12th?
Yes.
And was that the first day of spring break?
I think it was right in the middle or just before spring break was starting.
So here you are, you're launching this new business. It's like old owners are out, you're in, here we go.
Yeah.
And everybody's home. You've got kids home from high school and kids home from college. Yes. So tell us just a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, it was a little crazy, but you know, like you said, thankfully they were a little bit older, so they're a little more self-sufficient and we didn't need to be there for everything. And I had a driver back home, which was helpful.
Yeah.
Because my one in high school at the time was not driving yet. So it was nice that my college kids were home because they could drive them where they needed to go. And I didn't have to be there, which was good. But yeah, it was a little chaotic, but it all worked out, you know.
So I always say that going through training is a little bit like your hair's on fire and you're drinking through a fire hose at the same time. So how was training for you?
It was a lot. I think I told Sara, I was like, my brain hurt every day when I would go home. I would go home and I was like, I don't know that I've ever felt like this in my life. Like, I was just like, my head just hurts, and it's not a headache. It's just like exercising your muscles. It was just growing. It was sore from being worked so much.
Now, were you training with the sellers or were you at corporate training?
No, actually, our franchise sent their trainer to us.
Oh, okay.
Since we were already open and operating, they thought it would be good for us to be here locally. And have them come out to us. So she came out for about 2 or 3 days, which was really nice because our employee that had been with them for a couple of years before we bought they had trained her, but she had never been formally trained by corporate.
Yeah.
And so it was nice for her to be there and both of us learn. And, because there's little things you miss or you don't know here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, really good for all of us that she was there to help us learn all the things.
All the things.
That is great. So while we're talking about that and training, what were you learning? Were you learning how to run the business? Were you learning the products? And then I would love for you to share with our listeners exactly what your business does. I think we overlooked that earlier.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, I was learning all of it. I've never owned a business. I've never run a business. I was an educator. I was a teacher. I'd worked at the high school, like we mentioned. So I'd been a teacher. I'd worked in schools. That's what I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was learning everything, like, how do I take payments? How do I pay people? How do I pay my employees? How do I pay vendors? And then let's learn CAD on top of this and how we measure and design and put things in. So it was a lot of learning, but so all of that. And we make Murphy beds. And then we do custom units with that. If you wanted like a whole wall unit, we could do shelving and bookcases and things like that. We also do pantries and custom closets and laundry rooms, mudrooms, garages, anything like that we can do. So it was a lot of learning quickly.
So you design and install.
Correct.
To improve spaces and improve storage in pretty much anywhere in the home.
Anywhere in the home. The only place we don't make product for is the kitchen and the bathroom. But any other place, entertainment centers, anything like that, we can do.
Okay. And your company name, is it Closets by Design and the More Space Place?
No, we are More Space Place.
You're just More Space Place.
Just More Space Place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Got it.
So that evolved too. I think it was a longer name and then they modified it. Is that correct?
So the franchise actually owns Closet Storage Concepts, which is a different
Closet and Storage Concepts. That's what I meant.
Yeah. And that is out of New Jersey is where that started.
Okay.
And then the More Space Place was more out of Florida is where it started. And that's where our manufacturing is in Florida.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect.
Great.
So it's been 6 months. I know you said it's been a whirlwind. What are some of the, biggest challenges that you have faced during this 6 months?
Just learning everything. But I think for me personally, it's been learning to self-promote and the networking aspect of all of that. That is not who I am naturally. I like to stay to myself and more of an introvert, but learning how to get out there and meet people and talk about what we do and, not be afraid to share what we do. So that's been one of my biggest challenges.
So tell us what you're doing. Going to chamber meetings or what?
So I just recently joined the Greater Fort Worth Builders Association. So we are part of that. And I'm slowly working into the Chamber of Commerce. So I was like, let's just take some baby steps. I feel after 6 months, I can breathe a little bit better now above water. So I was like, one step at a time.
And so your employee that was there that went through training with you, you still have that employee?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So Vet is still with us and our installer is still with us as well. And he was with them for 17, almost 18 years beforehand. So
that's nice.
It's been so nice to have both of them there. I can ask any question. They can answer just about everything. So that's been wonderful and so helpful.
I actually think that's pretty good that like 6 months in now you're ready to get out and start networking because that's a lot of learning. And
Well, thank you.
And you have good employees, that you can depend on. So tell us what some of the biggest, you mentioned your challenges and learning how to get out and self-promote. What are some of the positives, some of the biggest blessings that you've received from doing this?
There's been all kinds of things. Just meeting all the people and like I said, learning everything. It's just been such a different experience just overall, owning the business and just every aspect of it. I never really thought I would be in this position. Honestly, I know Brian and I talked about it, but I never was like, oh yeah, we're really going to do that one day. There's just something we talked about.
Kind of a dream.
Exactly.
Came to reality.
Exactly. So, just being able to do this and then having the support of all of our family and friends has been amazing. So that's been really, really nice. And the kids have been great with everything. So
I think it sets such an example for your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's been the girls, especially because they're older. I have 2 older girls in college, and then my younger 2 are boys. And like anytime I tell them, they're like so excited. They push everything on their social medias as well, which has been kind of nice.
Yeah.
To have them do that. And then they'll be like, oh, you should do this, or don't do that, Mom. Like, so they're always giving us little pointers here and there on things. So that's been
they're
good.
so much better at it than we are, right?
So much better. Yes.
But it's become a family business.
It has. Yeah. So we've started putting little videos on our social media. And so we were trying to figure out like how to do the voiceovers and all of that. And my son goes, go to your closet. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, go do your voiceover in the closet. He goes, it works better in there. And I was like, okay. I had no clue. So just them teaching us things as well has been great. But
where's Mom? She's in the closet.
Yeah, exactly.
She's recording. Everybody be quiet.
Exactly.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, it's
been
really good. And they can show us like little tricks when we're making the videos and things like that on how to, edit them. And so it's been really good.
Well, I've seen your videos and they're very cute.
Well, thank you.
You've done a really good job.
That is so outside my comfort zone as well. When Brian was like, you got to do this, I was like, oh my gosh, no.
That's fun. And that's neat that your kids are involved. And yeah, I agree with you. Seeing your parents and watching you, we have this saying, do it scared. And watching you do it scared, right? Because
100%.
It shows them, it teaches them something that they can't learn anywhere else.
And you can't. I mean, you hear people talk about things, owning businesses and stuff, and you think, oh, well, I don't. And then until you're in the fire, you have no clue.
No idea.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, I always use the analogy that when you're going to college, everybody kind of tries to tell you what to be prepared for. But until you actually live it, you don't understand it. And, you're going to have to study or, class is not going to be just simple like it was in high school or whatever. And then, oh, yeah, you're right. I am going to, this is different.
That's how I felt about giving birth. Nothing can ever prepare you for that.
I agree. That's another great example.
Yes.
And
definitely.
And like you said, you were a stay-at-home mom and you were always in education in some form. And for your kids now to see you completely pivot and do something completely different and learn something completely different. And I also love that, you're showing them that whatever you decide to do early on in life doesn't mean that that's what you're committing yourself to until retirement.
Yes, exactly. And I think, me doing this has been a great example too. But even when Brian transitioned out of the military, just when we left our last duty station, we had nothing. We had no house, no job, nothing. So, I mean, they've kind of lived this a couple of times. So to see like, hey, we can make it out and we'll be okay. And whether this works or if it doesn't work, whatever happens down the road, everything will be okay in the end. But definitely scared.
Right.
Definitely scared.
I think that gives them the ability to try though. Cause I think if we shelter them from too much, they don't learn that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good
life lesson for
gift
them
to have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My husband shares their family moving here from Iowa and leaving all their family up there, but to kind of start fresh and how they didn't have a home and they were living in a hotel for like 2 or 3 weeks and things like that. And that totally stuck with him. So it's very similar to what you were talking about when you left the military.
Yes.
You left that whole comfort that you were used to. And just like even, now starting a business, you left something that was very comfortable to go into something completely uncomfortable.
Yes. And I think that is the scariest part, right? Going into the unknown, like you're comfortable, your job is nice and cush, and you don't have to worry about things, right? You're going to get your paycheck every so often, but to go and have no clue the next time you'll get paid. I mean, that's scary.
Which is great about Brian being able to keep his job.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
One of my favorite sayings is there's never a better time to start a business than when there's an income in the house. So, and that's how it was for me when I was starting my business is, I had lost my income and thank God my husband had one because it was lean those first couple of years.
Yes,
it is. It is lean.
Yes.
Like you said, you got to ramp up. You're learning trial and error, but obviously less in a franchise than trying to do it on your own. Give us some input. You already kind of mentioned about training, but how has the franchisor been in terms of helping you over some of the roadblocks?
Yeah, they've been great. I mean, so helpful. And I feel like I'm calling the manufacturers like 24/7. She knows me by name when I call because I just have so many questions. Like I said, I've never been in business. So just learning everything, like when it says this, does it really mean that? Or, all those little details, learning, they've been so helpful with all of that. Anytime we have questions about marketing or promoting things in a certain way, we can call them and they're always so helpful with that and anything we need. So they've been a really great support through everything.
Good.
That's a really important point that you just brought up, because I think a lot of people don't ask enough questions because they're afraid to, I don't want to look dumb or whatever, and then they end up getting frustrated.
Right.
So I think just putting that all aside and asking as many questions as possible.
Everything. I mean, they're probably so tired of me.
I don't think so.
And the lady who came out, Beth, to train us, I'm constantly texting her, calling her, asking questions about anything, design questions, manufacturing questions, like how does this work? What is this exactly? Because I'm always finding something in there in the program that I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And well, how does this work? How do you put it in there? How do you do this? How do you do that? So it's been really, really nice to know that I can ask those questions and they're not just like pushing me aside.
And it's nice to know that you have that, because when you're independent and trying to do it on your own, who do you ask all those questions of?
Right.
So
exactly.
It's nice
that
to
has
have
been
that
nice
support.
to have that safety net to fall back on, to have somebody to ask those questions to.
Yeah. You're not figuring it out all by yourself.
Exactly.
Definitely. So, Tonya, based on kind of what we've talked about, if somebody's listening today and thinking they might want to go into business, might want to be a franchisee or might want to be a business owner, what tip or advice could you give them?
I think kind of like what we were just talking about, asking questions. So I have friends who own businesses and were very helpful. So I asked them everything. Like I had them sit down with me and explain things. So not being afraid to ask those friends, those people that you trust and know will guide you in the right direction, any questions that you have about business, that was so helpful to me. And then I think it's one thing Sara told us too, was find a good accountant and find a good attorney, especially when you're going through the contract portion of everything. That was so helpful, because you're in there and you're reading all these things and you have no clue what they mean. And so I'd be like, okay, you need to explain this again in like kindergarten language, because I don't understand what you're talking about. So,
well, it's the first time for you to be reading that language, especially in those franchise disclosure documents, and the attorneys write them. And so they can really explain that in language that makes sense to the layperson.
Yeah. And when I read it, I was like, oh, well, I'm understanding it this way. And he's like, oh, no, that's not what that means. It's this. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. That's why I pay you. Thanks.
Well,
exactly.
And to your point, specifically a franchise attorney, this is what we talk to our clients about. You don't want to use your husband's best friend's brother's business attorney that doesn't understand franchise law, because this is an industry that's very, very, it's in and of itself. So
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, a few years ago, I had a client that is an attorney and he still hired a franchise attorney. He said, I don't write these documents. I don't know what's standard and what isn't standard. Right. And so it's really crucial to have legal advice from somebody who specializes in franchising.
Yes. No, that was worth it all. So having a good attorney, a good accountant, and good friends that you can trust to ask those questions to has been so helpful.
While we're talking about that, we'll shout out to Bill Rhodes and Carlos White, who were her advisors through this. Bill Rhodes, CPA, and Carlos White, franchise attorney. The Impactor.
The Impactor, yes. The Impactor. Well, if somebody wanted to learn more about your business, or you have a showroom, come in and see what you actually do, how would they find you or get a hold of you?
Yes. So we do have a showroom. We're at 1033 Trend Drive in Carrollton. We have hours Monday through Saturday. Monday through Fridays, 10 to 4, Saturdays, 11 to 4. So come in and see everything. We have beds, we have closets, we have pantries, everything in the showroom for you to see, touch, feel. And you can always give us a call and we can come out and for an appointment in your house to help you make decisions there if that's what you need. Our phone number is 214-436-5433.
Wow.
Perfect.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So, and you enjoyed organizing, you still do, I'm sure. But so this ended up kind of being a good fit for you just to kind of evolve and use those skills in a different way and run your business.
Definitely. Yes. So. It's been a great experience so far. So
good.
I have to tell you, I have a thing about closets, and she knows this. So in all of our houses, I always do the closet. So I love your product and what you guys do and keeping people organized you don't organize for them, but you provide them a really nice space to organize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. My husband, about a year and a half ago now, we did a remodel. And when I said, I want to redo the closet, he's like, you're crazy. We don't need to do the closet. And I'm like, yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
And we redid the closet. And every day we walk in, both of us are like, oh, we love this closet.
I love my closet too. I had it done too. And it makes the world of difference.
It's life-changing.
It is life-changing. We built our house and I didn't have them put the closet stuff in. I said, leave it completely a shell. I'm going to have this done. And so glad I did.
Yeah. She has a nice closet. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that big. And so it makes it,
it's even more important, I think, when it's not a big closet to really have it
very functional.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day and spending time with us and sharing your story. And for those of you listening, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about franchising, please click the link in the description below. You can find how to reach Sara and I there. And also there's some helpful information. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.